This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1005, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, and mogul, Derek Miner.
What up, what up, what up?
And this week, Jamie Ivey is out. Downtown Emily Brown is out. Our backup of backups, our third string, Gabrielle Griffin, is out. So holding it down. It's an all-dude crew this week. Please welcome from Paris, France, our senior editor, Tyler Huckabee.
That's right. Bonjour, everybody.
I was just going through the details, Tyler, to let the audience know we tried our hardest to have some sort of sane female voice in the mix.
This is the worst case scenario. We want to make it clear. This was the last resort. Nobody wanted this.
Yeah, it was either this, or just, release an old episode and hope no one noticed. And we were very close to doing that.
Well, the jokes have been the same since 2009, so,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I would be curious if one day we just released one from like 3 years ago and, just see what percentage would even realize, that is a mistake.
That's funny. Well, we have a great show in store for you today if it happens. So there's extenuating circumstances that may interfere with the recording of this podcast, namely, little behind the curtain, we record this on Wednesdays, the day that Florida gets swallowed up by a hurricane. So in case really tragic, horrible things end up happening, I don't want to make light of the fact that there's a hurricane about to hit us, but it's storming right now. A hurricane is sitting right on top of us, and that my power may go out. I may be gone.
You're in Orlando though, so I'm like, if a hurricane comes that far inland in Orlando and does that much devastation, Florida is just gone.
So it's gonna hit. It's hitting Florida right now on the West Coast, right near Tampa. If you know our interstate system, I-4 goes from Tampa to Orlando up to Daytona Beach and across the state. The path of this hurricane is basically to catch I-4 in Tampa and slowly ride I-4 all the way up directly to Orlando. So the good news is hurricanes die out when they're over land. So by the time they get here, it's just messy. It's not as catastrophic. But man, Tampa's... Yeah, again, I don't know what's going to happen, but
if this episode suddenly sounds like it's an episode from 3 years ago that we just spliced in halfway through, you're probably right. That's probably what happened.
That's fine. There's material there. We could do it.
We could do it.
Cool.
We can mine. We can go back to the mine the archives a little.
We could do. I'm not going to do this now, but put a pin in this because this part of the conversation is going to become relevant again during the buzz coming up here.
Oh,
during the relevant buzz. But just remember that. Just bookmark the. Open that tab in your mind, the Google Chrome tab. Keep it there. We'll come back to it. You'll know why. You'll know it when you hear it.
The other things that are weird is that you're going to be hearing mute buttons a lot because Jesse's still in the construction zone. They're sanding today.
They are.
And Tyler is in the midst of a room with people on other phone calls. So there's going to be a lot of in and outs. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens. Who knows?
And I'm playing NBA 2K and I'm grinding to get my player to be a 99. So
you're not paying attention?
Sorry, man. I'm online, bro. I don't want my team. I don't want my teammate grade to go down. So I got to focus right now. But
Yeah. I got Stardew Valley rolling over here too with you, man. I'm right there with you, man.
Can I say this sanding a floor is the only thing comparable is, when you have a big empty bucket and you spray the inside with a hose really hard, it kind of echoes really quick. That's what it's like, but right by your ear for the entire day. If anyone wonders what it's like to be next to a sanded floor, it's exactly like that.
That sucks a lot.
At first, I actually thought they were rinsing buckets next door. I just thought they got a lot of buckets to clean out, but no, it's floor sanding. So anyway.
Well, I would say normally we have a great show in store for you today. We have a great guest in store for you today. We don't know how the show is going to go. We do know the guest is great. Chris Brown from Elevation Worship joins us. He's the national worship leader that didn't send a nude picture on Instagram this week. So he's joining us.
No, holy cow! We don't know. We don't know that. We cannot confirm that officially in any official capacity.
Record industry emails got mixed up, and like Chris Brown got invited to the Dove Awards, but not that Chris Brown. It was like Chris Beasy. You know, it could happen.
Well, Eminem and Khaled may be there if you heard last week's podcast. So, you know, it could just be a totally different type of show moving forward.
I think Eminem is going to get a Dove this year. I really do. Like I know you guys talked about this a little bit last week and when I wasn't here for it, but I really do. I'm put a flag on it. I'll put money down. If anyone in Vegas is feeling good about this, I think Eminem, I think Marshall, I don't think he'll be there. Like I don't think he's going to be on stage in Nashville, but I think they will grant him, the honorary Dove and they'll put it in and UPS Post, send it that way, and no complaints on my end. I
don't think Vegas takes odds on the Dove Awards. Just FYI, but
there's a business there, and that's why I wanted to pitch you guys on this. I have an idea. This is how we're going to make our
Branson
money.
does, but you can only bet rule buckets from some apocalyptic preacher. That they wager in that in Branson. Sorry, Derek, we cut you off.
I just said I'm gonna be quiet. I don't
have anything
else to say.
The other thing. Yeah. All right.
Did you receive the pictures, Derek?
I have nothing to talk about on anything on the intro of this show.
I think you do have thoughts.
I feel like that's not true. But
our text yesterday says he has some thoughts. But
oh my gosh,
too hot for TV.
Jason's gonna be busy with editing this part. I can already tell. This is why Jamie is so good for this podcast.
I've said this before. I feel like every time it's all dudes. Within 5 minutes, we're in the ditch, and the tow truck's on its way with that cable winch to pull us out, but it's stuck, and we're going to be there for
it's because of the hurricane. So the road's flooded.
Settle in, listeners.
All right, moving the show along. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz.
I'm lost and I'm lonely. I hunger for you only. Don't need me now. Don't break this spell. In heaven, lost my taste for hell. Taste for hell.
You're listening to Yeah Yeahs. It's their new single, Wolf. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
All right, what do you have, Tyler?
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is there's a group that I think sometimes we give kind of a bad rap or gets a bad rap in the news headlines, and we've definitely talked about some positive and negative stories about them on here, and that is American evangelicals. So I did want to highlight an interesting study that came out this week that I think is actually a very positive development and was very surprising to me that came out. This is a study from Lifeway Research that was sponsored by World Relief. Now, in 2015, 2015, about 61% of American evangelicals were in favor of a pathway to citizenship for refugees who come into this country. 61% was pretty low. Today, as of 2022, that number has jumped up to 77% in 7 years. That is an enormous jump for this group of people in America, and it's really hard to understand why. It's a very, very big group. They are now among the religious groups that are most likely to say there should be a path to citizenship for refugees who come into this country. They went from least to most, and that, I don't think anybody really expected this. It was a surprise to the people who did the study at Lifeway, to World Relief, obviously, who's very involved in all of this. And now there are some other numbers kind of along this lines. Evangelicals, 46% say new immigrants provide an opportunity to show love. That's way up, about 10% from 2015. 41% say it's an opportunity to tell them about Jesus, which is a little bit ironic since most immigrants who come to the country are already Christian, but still, it's like, a positive thought. So this is a big surprise, and the speculation about why this might be, what changed all of this, is actually the situation in Afghanistan, with the pullout from Afghanistan, and the realization for many Americans for the first time to see just how confusing and difficult the immigration process is, that has led them now to support a fairer, more realistic path to citizenship for people who come into this country. So very cool to see that. Would really like to see that, obviously, become something that leads to some real action politically too.
It's surprising too, because most evangelicals are politically conservative and they get their news from more conservative sources, and which are known that in their prime time opinion shows to really fearmonger around the scary refugees coming to our borders. So it's interesting that the Christians are saying, no, actually we should let them in. And
I think that's, and I don't know, and I don't know, other than just some more news headlines that have been kind of like hard to deny, that have shown the reality for these immigrants. Once you have a camera down there and you can actually see a lot of these people, see that they're not scary, realize that I think in some cases, this is according to Matthew Sorens, who is at World Relief, he believes that actually having seen these people and having the news cameras down there has been really, really good. You can try to spin this negatively, and of course a lot of different primetime cable shows do, but it's hard to make these people look scary when they come in. They're cold, they're hungry, and they're on the run from a situation that the U.S. caused in many cases, which is apparently starting to move the needle a little bit, and that's cool to see, and hopefully that is reflected in how we treat refugees and how we welcome them here.
I think it's also important for people that are writers to know, like, this is writers and media outlets to know, like, how important it is to show a different narrative. You have people with one narrative, but to show a narrative of, dare I say, truth. But, it was Uncle Tom's Cabin is what changed the tide for slavery in this country, because she tells the story of Uncle Tom, who was a good man that was just enslaved, and the horrible things that were going on. And that's what turns the tide, because normal people were like, no, there's no way this is happening in slavery. We just thought they were just living there working, right? And et cetera, because most people, they're working 40 hours a week. They don't have time to be specialists in some of these huge crises. So that's why it's important for good news outlet and good media to be able to tell a story that's unbiased and true, and not based on stroking the fears of your particular base. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, too, it's interesting how much research there is out now, too, that shows like what a benefit to communities immigrants are, from economic standpoints, social standpoints, and just being open to news and ideas that may be counter to maybe a political conviction, but being able to approach stories and topics with objectivity and just kind of an open-mindedness, but also, not to be corny, but from a Christian perspective, like an open-heartedness to like, okay, am I in the wrong here? Should I be thinking about this issue differently? And what does my faith kind of compel me to do in terms of, forming an opinion around it?
Over the years, that's been always our goal, is to build bridges of understanding. I think there's so much about our culture wants to pit us versus them, whoever the them may be. To me, You don't have to compromise your convictions, your beliefs, your theology to understand others who don't see the world the way you do. So we've tried to give platform to people that, have stories that are different than ours. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's where they're coming from. Oh, they're not as scary as I thought they were, or whatever. And like now all of a sudden you have empathy and knowledge that you didn't have otherwise. And I agree with you, Derek, that telling human stories, I think can change the world, honestly. What else do you have, Tyler?
All right, so this is kind of a fun story. This is, I'm going to ask you about an actor, and just tell me what you think about this guy. I want to get across the board, especially. I think. Well, I'll hear what everybody thinks. What are our thoughts on the actor John Cena?
No interest.
Indifference. Complete indifference. Yeah.
Couldn't care less.
Pretty handsome. Seems to.
Kind of muscly.
Yeah.
He's actually, to be honest, he's gotten better as an actor. So
I think he's an all right actor.
Yeah, he's okay.
I think he's okay. He's kind of like Dwayne Johnson. You got to know how to deploy him, and you'll do just fine with him.
Put him in the right place, he'll win. Yep.
Yeah. Well, he actually he made headlines this week for breaking a record. He actually broke it quite some time ago and is just now getting some attention for it. He has set a record for the most granted Make-A-Wish wishes from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The previous record was set at 200 Make-A-Wishes that somebody, and I'm not actually sure who set that record, but it was at 200. John Cena, as of this writing, probably like a corporation. I don't think it was like Danny DeVito or anything. It was like probably a company.
Can you imagine a dying little kid? His one dream is to meet Danny DeVito.
I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing. Yes, run it up.
And I'm not. I hope I have a long, happy life. But if something happens, Mr. DeVito, I'd love to meet you.
Even just a cameo.
I hate it's under these circumstances, but yeah, I would take just a video call. To be honest,
that'd be great. So 200 was the previous record. John Cena, as of this recording, has granted 650 Make-A-Wish. Granted 650 Make-A-Wishes.
I believe it.
He's been doing this for.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's really, really cool. He began his professional working relationship with them in 2002, and there's a lot of. I know this is something that this isn't a world that I'm super interested in, and I apologize. I don't mean to upset the fans, but I know professional wrestling is obviously a huge entertainment complex. A lot of kids are really, really into it. And I think that's kind of where this Make-A-Wish thing started with him. Now he's gotten more famous. He's in a lot of movies. He's got Peacemaker on HBO Max. But he's still doing that. Although, as somebody know, we posted this story on our website. And I don't often go into the comments, but I did go into them on this one. And somebody noted that we did not have a picture of John Cena on the story that we posted. There was no picture of John Cena, and I was confused at first because there definitely was, and that's when I remembered that there's an internet meme about John Cena, which is that he is always invisible, so you can never actually see. If you see an internet picture of John Cena, you're supposed to be like, where's John? I don't see John Cena anywhere in here. And I appreciate somebody actually doing that.
More celebrities using their platform to positively touch lives and not post nude pictures on Instagram. That's what we want.
Dog.
It's a winner.
Cam, you gotta chill, bro.
That'll do it for the buzz. Stay tuned. Up next, Chris Brown, the good one, joins us.
Yeah, I'm trying to come through. Beep, beep. Yeah, I'm bringing something new. Beep, beep. Yeah, I'm trying to come through. Beep, beep. Yeah, I'm bringing something new. There's no limit. I'm trying to feel it. Every time I see you, well, I'm gonna break through it. Get the gist, be happy and do it. No one can stop it. If they want it, they can try it. Next gen transcend, women and men. Bring a noise, make it count. Yeah, do it again. Never stop, never give up, and don't pretend. Tell a friend all the rules you're gonna bend. I try to tell you all.
You're listening to MIA. It's our new single, Beep. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting GodTheScienceTheEvidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose The Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold. Well, our guest today is Chris Brown. He's a worship leader with Elevation Worship, and he spoke with us about how the ministry is looking to push the limits of what worship music can sound like and why it's important to remain true to the gospel. Here's our conversation with Chris Brown.
Hail, hail, Lion of Judah, let the lion roar. Hail, hail, Lion of Judah.
First off, I want to say congratulations because you guys received multiple nominations from the Dove Awards, which is always exciting. What's it like to get that sort of like recognition for your work?
I think it's great that it reflects, a measure at least of influence and impact that the songs are having and everything. I will say a song gaining a certain number of streams, or a song that has gone like gold or platinum, that personally means more to me than an award, just because it feels like something I can measure and quantify. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Award, I don't know how to, it's weird. I wasn't like a teenager that was like in my room, like playing guitar, dreaming of the day that I was going to be accepting an award. And so I didn't have like this dream that's kind of, finally surfaced or come about in that way. But as the ministry's grown and as God's given us influence and as, He's brought people here, what has meant a lot to me has been seeing songs that chart in a way to me that mean like X number of people are being impacted by this song, whether it's just impacted musically, not even to like try to over spiritualize it, but it feels like here's an actual number of people who've listened to this song or listened a number of times to this song. And it's such an honor to be recognized and nominated in any way. It's always really cool. So.
Do you see what I see? 'Cause I see lightning, I hear thunder. Something stirs.
I think that's like such a great point that, while it's great to have that award, to be able to say that your song connected with someone on like a deeper level, like that's a huge honor in itself as well. So I don't know, something that I really appreciate about Elevation is that your music is new and fresh, but it's still like the same, like tried and true gospel truth, which is really great. So how do you like find new ways to like, how do you create new music when you're still talking about like you said, like the same truths?
I'll speak maybe just to the last couple of years, at least with some of the writing we've done, maybe musical journey, so to speak, we've been on. But like, I think for years we were learning to write worship songs, and we were learning from so many just amazing writers and ministries. And I think like anybody, worship music genre, whatever, rock, reggae, R&B, whatever genre, you learn by following like kind of a set of rules that are established for good reason, because that's what makes a good song in that genre. And so that's what people want. So we did that for years. And then I do think a couple years ago, somewhat intentionally, we just began to like challenge ourselves to, you know what, like, let's be a little bit more honest in some of our writing. We're not going to stop singing about the gospel, like you said. We're not going to equate honesty to like putting in our own feelings where they would trump what truth is, or putting in our own narrative or our own truth in songs. But there is probably room, from having spent so many years writing with rules that felt a bit boxy, but served us in our songs well for years. Maybe there's room for us to be a little more honest in our writing. Let's see what happens. And so that was about the time we were writing like Graves in the Gardens, a few other songs on that album. The song Rattle from that album came like 3 weeks after the shutdown happened in 2020. And that song in particular, I mean, to me, it's such a gospel centric song. It is the gospel. And, but I don't think that song would have ever been written from us, at least, if the shutdown hadn't happened, because we felt like no inhibitions when like we're not writing anymore with the mindset of like, well, we got to try this out on Sunday morning. Because if we had thought that as we were writing Rattle, there's no way we would have given ourselves that much permission to go all the way there musically or whatever, because we know people, they're just going to stare at us like we've lost our minds. I do feel like the challenge was good for us, that we're not going to change what we're singing about, and what we're rooted in and what we believe in.
I don't know, are there ever any ideas where you kind of go there and then you just think, nope, that's not the way that we want to go?
I mean, we for sure have songs sitting on Dropbox that got to a work tape. We can't necessarily find a place for them. There's one I'm thinking of right now called Don't Follow Me. It's been sitting around for 8 months. I'm going to tell it. I don't know if I should, because it sounds so stupid and cheesy when I think of it in my mind. It kind of feels like it's kind of theatrical. It feels so dramatic, but it's so cool. It's so cool. But it's the whole song's like this warning, and it's called Don't Follow Me because it's basically like Moses talking to Pharaoh. And it's a warning with like a lot of like arrogance from from Moses' perspective. He's like, bro, I'm telling you, back off. Don't follow me. It's not going to end good for you. It's that type thing. It sounds so cheap, but the dramatic and theatrical flair it has, even in the work tape, it's so over the top. But I mean, no, I don't see us moving into the theatrical realm on Sunday morning at Elevation. However, I kind of hope we find a space to put that out in. I don't know what it would be yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely interested in hearing that. So
That was Chris Brown. Make sure to read more of that conversation in our feature on pushing worship to new depths in the new issue of Relevant. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
It was a tragedy with icing. And we about escaped our present net with a silver lining. The playbook's gone and I really don't care which part of me is dying. Just put one foot in front of the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I ain't going home.
You're listening to Cautious Clay. The song is Burning Up Slow. Sounds painful. It's time for your feedback. So last week we got talking about Kanye and how he's like kind of rethinking monasteries, clothes, school, everything. And so it got us thinking about what other parts of life do we want to rethink, culture. So you guys hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and here's some of our favorite of your suggestions.
Beverly Brassfield, God Almighty, Miss Bev. No, we're not doing this. But she says voting. She says, put the name of every person over 18 should be put in a hat and then host a drawing for every office from president on down to the local level.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
You'd have a diverse representation of the people they're representing, though. At least it's more. It'd be more representative than what we have now.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of crazy people out there, and just because you got picked out of a hat doesn't mean that you can in any way run our county.
Who we've elected. Do you know who we've elected now? There's a lot of crazy people there too. Rachel, I like this one. Speaking of selecting people for national representation, she says we've been selecting Olympians all wrong. How wild would it be if we went Hunger Games mode and you got a letter in the mail saying you've been randomly selected for, and it would just tell you what event?
I like it.
I think if we had
That's
like an
good.
average Joe's and average Jane Olympics and it's selected that way, everyone would watch.
like it.
Everyone. It'd be
Here's
fantastic.
the thing though. You have to sweeten the pot. It can't be for a medal if it's average Joe's. It has to be for like $1.5 million.
Yeah, that's what Hunger Games got right, is a fight to the death. Yeah.
Then they're gonna give it their all.
But the problem with this theory, this idea, is that if every country does this, Americans are by far the fattest people in the world.
That's why
we will
it's gonna
have
be
a
amazing.
physical disadvantage.
Yes.
We are putting ourselves in the back.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's good. This is good. This is a winner. Yeah.
This is it.
Unless your envelope shows up and it's like, oh man, pole vault again.
Hey, look,
And it's some like 400-pound grandpa, like he got signed up for
that
pole
would be
vault.
the motivator for people to work out, Cam.
Exactly.
Just
There you go.
imagine
That's
if
true.
all of a sudden
You never know.
your neighbor
true.
got picked and he could have won $1.5 million, but he was out of shape.
Okay, but wait. So Hunger Games is like you got to go. You go right now. You're saying you get a year advance notice. Next summer's Olympics, you better be ready.
No,
that kind
I'm
of a thing.
saying if you were watching TV and I'm like, oh shoot, that's Cameron on TV, and you're doing a race or whatever, and you just got blown out the water. I'm thinking to myself, dang, what if I get an envelope? Like, let me go get to the gym. Let me get my life together just in case I get that call. Like, so I think if anything, that probably would help. Like, people would be like, man, let me be right.
Oh no, it's Olympic seasons. The letters are going out. I better be in the gym. I better be ready. Who knows?
I need to start.
Knows? Okay.
I'm gonna do a salad at lunch today. Yeah.
Oh.
Because you're going to have cameras on you at all time. So those New Year's resolutions are popping. It's like, yo, we definitely going to the gym. Yeah. I think it would work.
I like this idea from Ross Wesley here. We need to think differently differently about how we mash. Most people do the human mash, but it's very obvious that the monster mash is far superior in every way.
What in the world does the human mash mean?
Never heard of it.
Dude, that's just I mean, I think we don't. It must be the only one.
Oh man, there's some funny ones. Okay, well, there's a lot more where that came from. Go check out Relevant Podcast on Twitter. Read the replies there; they're pretty funny. Okay, it's time for this week's
Editorial question of the week. Hey.
We learned that the number one Make-A-Wish person is John Cena, and he's touching lives everywhere. It got us thinking, not the sad side of it, but the cool side of it, of like meeting your hero and hanging out with your hero, and how that can, be a lifelong memory. So we want to know your hero that you would want to meet. So tell us who it is and what you'd want to do. Like for me, I'd want to go hang out for the afternoon at a mall with Larry David, because I think the people watching commentary would be incredible. So, like something like that. So tell us who you want to hang out with, who you want to meet, and what you would want to do with them.
And I'm sticking with Danny DeVito. I made it.
Wesley Snipes. Wesley
Snipes, not Kanye. See, I thought you would.
Look, Kanye. Listen, I love Kanye, but I don't know if on my last days I want to talk to Kanye. I want to talk to Blade.
Wesley Snipes is from Orlando. I ran into him at the mall 10 years ago. Random.
That's random. Did he have a Blade outfit on?
No, he did not. He was just shopping. But Wayne Brady too. Wayne Brady's from here, and I ran into him at the mall too one time. But anyway. Weird town. I live in a weird town.
Very.
All right. Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast. Tell us who you'd want to meet, who you'd want to hang out with, what you'd want to do, and we'll read our favorites on next week's show. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Chris Brown for joining us today. Remember, read the rest of that conversation on worship over in the new issue of Relevant. Not only will you see that feature, but you'll see our conversations with MIA, N.T. Wright, Sterling K. Brown, Regina Hall, and a lot more. Hey, if you like the show, if you're still listening, got good thoughts, good feelings about it, tell people. Rate it and review it wherever you listen. Maybe share it online, post some clips, all that kind of stuff. We've kind of alluded to it, but in about a month, about 4 weeks, you're going to start seeing video content coming from this podcast a couple times a week, and we got some plans. We got some fun stuff in motion. But if you like the show, rate and review it. Tell people about it. We appreciate it and love seeing the feedback. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Tyler Huckabee.
We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
At first, I actually thought they were rinsing buckets next door. I just thought they got a lot of buckets to clean out. But no, it's floor sanding.
Relevant Podcast Network.